After spending a year in Mumbai, number one thing that the body needs is oxygen. Mumbai to Kochi is a 2 hours flight, and the change in view from the concrete jungle to dense forest will make your heart happy. From Kochi, we boarded our cab to Vajra resort, which would take us to Munnar, Thekkady, Vagamon, and drop us till Uluppuni. It costed us 13,500 for 600 kilometers and 6 days. Vajra resort is in the middle of a forest, and there are animal sightings at night, especially wild elephants. So it is preferred to reach at around 8 pm. The resort is an Ayurvedic retreat famous for its authentic Kerala massage. The next morning started with yoga and the blissful sound of the birds. We had booked the Tulsi cottage off the resort, which is more like a 1 BHK apartment and is very spacious. After the yoga, we took a stroll to the nearby Mahagani Thotam forest, which is a 20 to 25 minutes walk from the resort. There were two issues though. One, we were too early, so the morning checks of the forest department were still on if there are any elephants or animals nearby. And two, we were not carrying any cash. The fee is Rs 50 per person, so 100 for two people, and has to be paid in cash. So we came back to the resort for our authentic Kerala massage, and at around 11:30 am left for Munnar. There are many waterfalls and tea points on the way to Munnar with small shops which keeps hats, local binoculars and fridge magnets. After spending some time at the waterfall and doing some shopping, we made our way to the resort in Munnar. It took us around 4 hours to reach Munnar, including one stop for lunch and another pit stop for tea. Upon reaching the resort, the first thing we noticed was that the vehicles are parked at a distance from the reception. From this point onwards, the resort is a no vehicle and no plastic zone. Also, to reach the rooms could be slightly more difficult for the elderly, as there is a walk to the room from the electric buggy drop-off point, which is a mini trek in itself. The resort has its own nature walk, which was part of our package. So after resting for around half an hour, we went for the nature walk at 5 pm. The trek was of around 1 hour, and we reached at one of the tea estates owned by Tata. The view was definitely worth the effort. As we came back, we were informed that the majority of spices used in the food were grown in the resort itself. The Hornbill restaurant is also one of the famous restaurants in Munnar. There were limited options for vegetarians though, so we had dinner and checked out for the day. The plan for the day was to cover all the points towards the top station and reach Rivulet resort by 4 pm. so that we do not miss any activities at the resort as well. We could have covered Ernakulam National Park, but it was closed in February. Our first stop was Photo Point. It was beautiful and crowded. The place has a lot of local photographers. We got the deal where he'd click the photos and we'd pay ₹30 for the soft copy of each photo we select. A word of caution: sometimes they'll click 200 photos and then we'll offer a bulk deal. It is always better to select photos because most of them would be just repetitions of the same photo. Our next stop was Carmelagiri Elephant Park. There is an option to take elephant ride, and if you don't want to, you can just observe these magnificent creatures at a very close distance. From Carmelagiri, we moved to Mattupeti Dam. On the way, we found a roadside honey vendor and purchased fresh forest honey from him. We did not take a stop at Mattupeti Dam. It was just a normal dam, and it could also be due to the season as February in Kerala marks the beginning of summer and the water levels were very low. Our next stop was Echo Point, and it certainly lived up to its name.
Hello! Aaya.
There are also nice little shops just outside Echo Point. The one on the side of Echo Point offered us a good price and we bought a few souvenirs. There is another beautiful viewpoint just 1 kilometer towards the top station from Echo Point. From here, we decided to go back to the resort and to skip top station as it would have taken another hour, which didn't seem worth for a viewpoint. Also, our Sarthi suggested something better. On our way back, we went to Ripple Tea Factory, from where we bought some tea and it also had an amazing viewpoint. Ideally, you need 3 days to visit all the tourist places in Munnar. On one day, you can go towards the top station direction, Chinna Kanad on the other day, and Thekkady on the day after that. Also, if you want to cover Erraviकुलम National Park, you can do that on the same day while going to the top station direction by leaving early. Another option is to go till the Echo Point, come back and visit the Erraviकुलम National Park. While coming back from the Echo Point, we found a nice vegetarian restaurant for lunch. The food was good and it costed us Rs 350 for two. From the reception, we moved to check in into our room and it was spacious. The room had a lake view and it was just the perfect place for the evening tea. The resort has a lot of activities. We first went bamboo rafting. It is not exactly rafting, but crossing the river in a bamboo boat and coming back. The view of the resort is pretty good though. After the bamboo boat, we visited the famous Macofa chocolate factory at a distance of just 15 minutes from the resort.
Cocoa is grown in here, and this is not a matured one. Matured time become like yellow color. Put like seeds are there. The seeds to make chocolate. Today is having like 20 to 30 seeds. Now 100 kilo chocolate making, we have to use like 250 kilo seeds, 400 kilo.
The next morning, we woke up early for the nature walk. Our guide told us that the resort is built in a 50-acre property with majority of area used for bamboo and spice plantation. This also makes the place feel so close to nature. At the end of the nature walk, we reached the fig plantation. For the first time, I had fresh figs instead of the dried figs which are available in most of the shops in India. The taste was incredible. Our next destination, Thekkady, was at a distance of around 3 hours from the resort. But before that, there was another adventure on the way, Zipline. From Zipline, we moved towards our Thekkady resort, which took around 3 hours. We had already booked the tickets for the boat safari and Kathakali show online, as it is difficult to book the shows at the last moment. So if you're planning to visit Thekkady, you can book these tickets online on the official websites. Our resort, Cardamom County, was in the heart of the city, and the Kathakali show and Thekkady Market were at a walking distance. After watching the mesmerizing Kathakali performance and the powerful Kalari show, we went for a casual stroll in the market. Like Munnar is famous for its tea and chocolates, Thekkady is famous for its spices. From the market, we arrived at this place, which is the center point of most activities in Thekkady. This is also the way to the parking from where we boarded the bus in the morning for the boat safari. We had booked the morning boat safari of 7:30, considering the summer season. For the safari and most activities in the Tiger Reserve, you have to reach the bus station, take a bus ticket, and the bus will then take you by itself inside the sanctuary wherever you have to go. We reached the bus parking at around 6:30. From here, the bus took us to the boat landing point from where our journey started. In February, morning boat safari of 7:30 is good as the heat is still under control for most part of the journey. Make sure to keep binoculars for the safari to spot the animals.
ये वही वाला है।
Yes. Thekkady is ideally a 2 to 3 nights destination. Summers, however, is generally not the best time to visit Thekkady because of the heat. Also, there are homestays near the sanctuary where you may see even more animals than the actual safari. To truly experience Thekkady, one must plan for 2 to 3 days with at least one day stay in a tent in the middle of the forest. Here is a list of activities that the place offers. Keeping in mind that February is the beginning of summers in Kerala, we had kept the day 5 open. We could either continue our stay in Thekkady or explore a new destination, Vagamon. Even though the chances of animal sightings are way more in the summers because animals come to water sources more frequently, we decided that a cooler place would be a better option. It was also a good choice in the sense that it is around 1.5 to 2 hours from Thekkady and is on the way towards Uluppuni. While going towards our resort, Falcon Crest, we also visited Vagamon Meadows, which was on the way. Zipline and small kayaking could also be done in Vagamon Meadows. For stay, our preference was hostel since we had heard good reviews about it on YouTube. But no rooms were available even on the weekdays. So we found another resort sitting in a secluded corner of Vagamon, Falcon Crest. The only point to be noted is that the food options are limited and the order is to be given around 5 p.m. since the items are freshly procured from the nearby market. Another good part was the size of the rooms and the view of the tea garden from the balcony. The resort offered a morning safari to the Uluppuni Top Station and the Uluppuni Caves through a local driver. We opted for it and paid 2500 for the visit to Top Station and the caves. Going into the caves with flowing water from a nearby water source may seem easy at first, but it was too difficult to walk even a step. We had to take off our shoes, and the stones were not kind. It took us around 2.5 hours to reach from Vagamon to Uluppuni, and the road is good as usual. On the way to Uluppuni, we reached a place which is the intersection of sea and backwaters. The place had a small snack point and a speedboat, the owner of which was extremely confident. So much so that even we had our reservations, we decided to give it a try. The owner was an expert professional at best, and the way he drove the speedboat was amazing. From there, we continued our journey to Uluppuni. There are lots of small coconut shops on the way. Wherever we got coconut water in Kerala, we bought it because it's a guarantee that it would be good. Also, finding vegetarian food in Uluppuni is really difficult. Even on the way to our resort, which is very near to the main market, there were no good vegetarian restaurants nearby. We ultimately settled to have lunch in the resort itself. It was also good. After reaching the resort at around 1 p.m., we had our lunch, checked into our rooms, and enjoyed the resort a bit. The resort is huge and really beautiful. The rooms are pretty good size and had a direct view of the lake. The resort has a number of activities. Some are complimentary and others are chargeable. We tried a few and overall it was a good experience. From resort, we moved towards our Shikhara ride where we dropped our cab. Now there are interestingly many options when it comes to Shikhara and houseboat. How did we choose Shikhara over staying in a houseboat? Even if we would have stayed in the houseboat, after sunset it stays at the same place at the dock, and we really wanted to roam around in Uluppuni and enjoy our resort a bit. So we choose to stay at a resort and do a sunset Shikhara for 3 hours. Now Shikhara ride has also a number of options. There are Shikhara available for 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours and 4 hours. In our view, Shikhara ride for 3 to 4 hours is the best because it takes you through the narrow canals and the villages. Also, Shikhara during the time of sunset, like starting at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, would be a better choice because the heat will be less and you will be able to enjoy an amazing view of the sunset within the Shikhara ride. Shikhara ride of 3 to 4 hours allows the time to go through narrow canals which runs through the villages. Also, while coming back, make sure to ask the driver if they can drop you near the resort or within the resort, especially if your resort is adjoining a lake. While Uluppuni is famous for its backwaters and Shikhara rides, there is another activity which is not that famous but is an experience worth having: kayaking. There are two options: either there is a morning sunrise kayaking or an evening sunset kayaking. We opted for morning kayaking and thoroughly enjoyed for 2 hours. You got to experience the real thrill when you're in the waters and the public transport buses, the boats which goes nearby. It's like you're on a cycle on a road and a government bus is passing by. While the name is Leisure Valley Beach Resort, it is more of a homestay with some 12 to 14 rooms in southern part of Varkala. It is pure vegetarian, which is a blessing in beach towns, and they provide good homemade food. This southern part of Varkala is good if you are looking for peace and serenity. If you are looking for the mini Goa factor, North Cliff is the place to be. The next morning, we woke up early and straight away headed to the Black Sand Beach. This is one of the most beautiful beaches, hands down, that we have seen. We came back, checked out, and then made our way to Jatayu's Earth Center. An interesting decision we had to take was whether to go by scooty or book a cab. We booked a cab because then we could directly go to Trivandrum from Jatayu's Earth Center. This is what we expensed for transportation after dropping our cab at Uluppuni, and this is what we would have if we had continued our cab till Trivandrum while saving our time that we wasted while waiting for the train. To reach the top of Jatayu's Earth Center, there are two options. One is a cable car, and second are the stairs. On that day, the cable car was not working. So we climbed 826 stairs to reach at the top. It took us around 45 minutes. Interestingly, there were many people aged above 55 and 60 who took their stairs route and were able to complete it successfully, so it's not that difficult. The place is an absolute marvel. It is beautiful and is a must visit as part of the Varkala itinerary. Make sure to reach before 12 pm for Ram Mandir Darshan. The best part is that the temple has a footprint of Shri Ram when Bhagwan blessed Jatayu to attain moksha. From Jatayu's Earth Center, we made our way towards Magic Planet. This is a little known place on the way to Trivandrum and is mostly visited by the locals. It was difficult for us to figure out what this place exactly holds, because at some places it says that it's a place of magic shows, while at other places it says that it is a place dedicated to educating and empowering specially abled children. For us, this place was just magic. It started like any other place. Beautiful, but we were not sure what to make out of it, as they had informed us in the beginning that the shows would be happening in Malayalam. For initial few minutes, it mattered. But then, we just became a part of this magical world created by the children. There were other good performances and magic acts as well.